Yo, welcome back. Okay, so let's continue here. Let's add some socials here. Now, the idea of saving settings is the way I do it is I'll have a table, and in that table, instead of creating columns for each setting, the way I'm sure that would be the instinct for most people, but instead I'm just going to create a table with 2 columns, and then every setting will be in there. So what I would do is let's click new on the database here. Let's click new so we can create a new table, and let's call the table settings. Yeah, very original name there. So obviously we need an ID for the primary index, otherwise we won't be able to access any of the rows. The second thing we need is setting. So that's the name of the setting, and then we're going to need one more called value, and that is going to be the value of the setting. So like this, if you create a table like this, you can put as many settings as you want without having to change the table in any way. So if we have a new setting, we're just going to give it a name and then give it a value. That's it. We don't need to save anything else. You don't need to know the date that this setting was given or not. But you could put a column called disabled if you want to be able to disable some settings. Maybe that's the system you have, who knows. But in our case, we won't need it. So it's going to be variable character for both of these, of course. So the setting name should not be that long. So maybe let's put 30 characters as the maximum, even though that seems like a bit much, but hey, they're just settings. And then the value will depend on a lot of things. How long are your settings and so on. So you must think sometimes you may need to save URLs which are quite long, and sometimes you may need to set, for example, if a setting is an image, you only save the path to that image and not the actual image in here. So there's no need to put something that's very, very long. But just to be on the safe side, we're going to say 2048. Wait, too much. 2048. Yes, like so. Make sure we have auto increment on and primary index is selected on the ID column. And then down here, make sure that you select no to make sure that you can accept no values on both of these, just to avoid problems when saving. And then let's hit save. Okay. So now we do have a settings. Now we might be searching for a specific settings sometimes, So let's add an index to this setting value. We will not be adding an index to the value, just the setting, because that's what we'll be using to search. Alrighty then. So now that we have that, let's come back here to our thing here. And so let's go also and check here before we continue. So the way we will put our settings is we're going to name the setting, like for example, phone number, and then we'll have a value on one side, and then email and a value, Facebook, a value, etc, etc. So here I will use something like, I don't need an ID of any kind here. What I do need is let's see here how we're gonna do things. So I'm going to say setting, yes. Yeah, I think that's all we do. Setting and value. Something like that. Yes. I think that's about it. We won't need the actions thingy there. So out, save. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so setting, value. Okie dokie. That's it. So now what we need is to get all the settings, But then once we loop through here, we just want to get the ones that we need. So table row, what is this? Position relative? Oh, I think this is from a previous thingy here. So okay, I see what's going on here. Okay, so let's remove all this here. We won't be needing most of this stuff. So out up to here. And I can remove this as well, and just do that. So maybe just for visualization, I'll do it like so. I don't need this style at all, so I'll remove it. Yes. Okay, so let's go back to our controller and actually get some content to put here. But then the issue is that we need to have the settings before we can read the settings. Yes? Let me show you what I mean. So let's go to our admin controller here. And so instead of the order class, we're going to have the setting. Settings, like so. Load settings. So let me go to the user class here for a second, and I want to steal some of this stuff, like up to here. Yes. Copy that, and now I want to create a new model. So new file, paste, save. So I'm going to click on one of these and then just edit it at the end. So settings, I think it should be singular because these guys are single, product. Okay, so setting 1 without an S. Let's save that, and let's make sure we complete these guys. 2 brackets there, save. And then let me change the function name to let's say get all. So we want to get all settings. We don't need that post in there. We don't also need this here. Let's try and use new instance here. Okay, I think we are good here. And what else? Settings class. Let's go back to the admin and let's remove the S there, of course, because the file name doesn't have an S. And now if I come back to the admin, I can say instead, okay, so I load this model here and I want to read from this model. So I'm going to say settings. I'll save that to data settings with double T, of course. Settings is equal to capital settings, which is the class name, get all settings, like so. Okay, that's all we need to do. And let me go back to the settings class and make sure that we actually get the settings. So let's run a query, shall we? Query shall be equal to select all from settings. That's it. That's our query. And then let's run that query. I'm going to say db read with our query. And then here, what we have is, I think we can return this like so. Now the class name should change as well, of course. Should be setting, like so. I don't know, it just doesn't sit well with me without an S, but you can give it any name you want. So now that we don't have any errors when I refreshed, it means things are actually working out. But the problem is our settings thing doesn't have anything there. It doesn't have the settings that we want. So the thing is, you have to create these settings in advance. So let's go to browse here for a second. So we have no settings there, right? So we won't be creating the settings from here, like add new setting. No. We're going to be creating from here because these are hard-coded settings. They have to come with the already set up with the table, the database, so that you don't have to add them, because otherwise it becomes difficult to code them. If they are being added by users and all that, it becomes a mess. So what we will do is we just insert some new stuff in here. So to insert, you go to where it says setting, ID we will ignore, but then setting here we want to add. So let's see, phone number. There's phone number, there's email, and then there's these other socials. So let's do that. Let's write phone underscore number, but we'll not be putting any values here. That's why the no accept no thingy is there. So phone number, and then what else? Email. Oh, so there are only 2 slots. Great. Let's hit go. So that's the query we just ran. Let's browse. Okay, so your phone number, email. Let's insert again. This time we want Facebook, like that, and then Twitter. So you can put underscore link like that, just so you can, if you want it to make more sense, Facebook link, Twitter link, and then go. Let's see that. Okay, we're doing great. Let's insert some more settings. Yes, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus. So LinkedIn link. That's weird. And then Google Plus. Google Plus underscore link go. And one more we add, I don't know what that social website is. We just say website link. Maybe you have another website, etc. and hit go. Okay, so back to browse, and we have a few settings here. Very nice, very nice. So all we need to afford the user is the ability to edit the value and not the settings themselves. These are hard-coded like this. So only the value will be changed by the user. So come back here and refresh. Ooh, so it's like we are getting some result. So we are getting some results, which is good. Let me come back here to where is this? Socials.php, and just duplicate this table data ×2 like so, just to make it even Steven. Okay, that's great. So I think that's enough of a setup and creating the database. Now we're going to see how to actually bring those settings here to life.